Week 2 just ended and I found this week frustrating. The theme this week was recovering a sense of identity. It's all about self-definition and figuring out who you are and setting boundaries so that you focus on your own personal needs. And I think because that was the premise, I had high expectations where I was gonna have this giant moment of self-discovery and finally figure out who I am, which is now saying it out loud, I realize that it's unrealistic. But yeah, I'm frustrated because I don't feel like I got a moment this week, but also looking back, I can only blame myself, or I have to be gentle with myself. I don't think I was fully into it this week, and I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but I just didn't want to do the morning pages. I did the morning pages every day. I didn't do them this morning. Does this count? Yeah, it does. They're frustrating. I just start writing and I'm like, I don't want to be doing this right now. It's first thing in the morning. My mind is already so focused on my to-do list and what I have to accomplish. Why am I showing you my morning pages? I'm treating it as a chore or like a to-do list item. And I think that's wrong. I think my approach needs to change for week 3. And I need to do the morning pages for me and not to get them done, if that makes sense. But this morning, I literally started writing and the sentence is, I don't want to write right now. I'm going to do my morning pages after this. And thinking about it, the reading even goes into that. The moment where recovery happens and change starts happening is the moment that you start self-sabotaging, because it's change, right? When change happens, your body, your gut, your nervous system is like, wait, what is happening? This is new. Let's go back to the old ways. The reading this week was about self-doubt. Now I feel stupid. I'm reading back the reading because I do the reading at the beginning of the week, so I don't remember exactly what it was, but I highlighted a sentence and it says, early in our creative recovery, self-doubt can lure us into self-sabotage. Hi. It's about being compassionate for yourself and giving your artist self a safe space and being careful who you share that with. It talks a lot about friends who might have good intentions but don't want you to get in that place of creativity, full creativity, because they have their own self-doubt. She uses the analogy of your friends who going out and drinking with you are not going to celebrate your sobriety. And when I read that, my first thought was I don't have people like that in my life. I don't think. No, I don't. And that made me feel very grateful and thankful for the community I have around me. But reading through it, that's shady. She has little paragraphs and each one describes a different type of crazy maker, she calls them. And I wrote a different X next to paragraphs. And one of them I wrote me, self, which is interesting because I think a lot of the things that come up, I'm thinking about the people in my life that I could apply this to, but a lot of times it comes back to self and my own thoughts and my own blockers. There was also an interesting part where she's talking about why we let those people into our lives, the crazy makers, the people that block us, because we can identify them and we get frustrated with them and it's like when a partner is driving you crazy but you're not moving, you're not getting out of their lives or letting them out of your life. And she addresses that and she says that we are self-destructive and that because we're blocked creatively and we don't want to do the work or be in the uncomfortable situation where we have to question ourselves, we choose to let someone else do the damage into our life so that we have someone to blame and we can focus on that. And I relate to that so hard. And I don't think I have any crazy maker in my life right now, but I do think that's why I was a serial monogamist. That's why I was in relationships all the time. It's because instead of focusing on what I wanted to do with my life and fixing my own problems and my own past trauma and everything, I wanted something else to work on, something else to fix, something else to feed and invest into. None of these relationships were perfect, but they gave me something. They gave me some project. And I think a lot of people who have a hard time being single have that pattern of treating relationships like projects or things to work on. And she said, get yourself checked out, get a book on codependency, and use a 12-step program for relationship addiction. Okay. She also talks about imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud when you're successful, which is so spot on. Every time something good happens for me as a result of something I have done, I take that part away. Even the way I just said that, something good happens for me. I have such a hard time giving myself credit, even for the things that I achieve by myself. And that creates a cycle where you don't feel like you're deserving of the good things that happen to you. You don't feel like your work is worth whatever it's brought onto you, so you don't invest in it again. So you just need to be a little bit cocky, and like not in a rude and attitude kind of way, but you need to be able to look at yourself and celebrate yourself the way you would if it was a stranger. Another topic that kept coming back when I was journaling, and it's so interesting because it confuses me. It always starts with a little bit of a venting moment, like I'm complaining about something, and then towards the end it's always me becoming grateful and like opening my eyes onto the things I should be grateful for. It's like looking at the things that are stressing me out or overwhelming me or causing me frustration and anger and being like, wait, backtrack. And a word that kept coming back for me this week, and that's one that I've worked with in therapy and that I'm still working with, is hypocrisy. And it's hard to talk about because I don't feel like I've overcome that, and I will overcome that. But there's so many parts of me that become frustrated or sad or emotional or angry at other people for their actions while I allow myself to do the exact same thing. And that's always been an issue for me, and I've only come to realize it more recently. And it's uncomfortable because we're never the villain in our own stories, right? Every situation that you get into, an argument with a partner, an argument with a best friend, something at work that went wrong, if you were to tell someone in your life about that story, most likely 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you're not going to be the villain. You understand the motivations and intentions behind your actions, and you're operating on assumptions for the other party. And so automatically they did something wrong. They misinterpreted something. They didn't understand where you were coming from. But I think I have, in the past month or so, maybe 2 months, become so painfully aware of my own shortcomings and my own mistakes and the ways in which I am not good. And that's another word that kept coming back. Like, one of my affirmation has been, I am a good person. And I don't know where it's coming from that I have to affirm it, but I think it's a big anxiety of me is to not be a good person and not do things right and like hurt people. And I know my intentions are not there. Like, I never want to intentionally hurt anyone, but in the past I have. Everyone does. But I've just come to the point where it's become such an important thing for me to be like, I am a good person. To look back at my actions and be like, I am proud that I acted this way. So the hypocrisy part is like a little bit difficult, but I'd be writing and like journaling and complaining about something, and then I'd be like, wait, you're being a hypocrite. And then I get to untangle why I think it's acceptable for me to have that certain behavior. And it helps me look at the other person with new eyes, because you put yourself in their shoes, right? Like, what if that assumption I made about their intentions was wrong? What if they think about it the same way I do when I do it, and it's not that bad? I don't have a specific example, and I don't want to read back my morning pages because she said not to read back, but it makes sense. Noah, I'm sure you still have instances where you relate as you're watching this. The exercises were also like boring. Or not boring, but maybe I just wasn't into it enough. One of them was list 20 things you enjoy doing and then write a date next to it. When was the last time you did it? And so I wrote 20. I think one of the hardest parts of this exercise was telling myself, I'm writing these things for me, and there should be no shame or guilt associated with it. I am not writing this to be perceived by someone else. I'm not writing this to then show it to my mom and be like, are you proud of the person I am? Something I struggle with a lot is that I'm performative in certain ways. My behavior isn't fully driven by my gut and what I want to do. It's driven by what other people want from me. And I've always been like this. It's not that I wasn't shown unconditional love as a child, because I do think I was. My parents were so loving, so expressive of their love. We always hugged and kissed, and they told me they loved me every single day. So I don't think it's like a situation where I had a difficult childhood and I had to perform in order to get love. I think I just learned from a very early age that it's almost like a dog training. Like, oh, if I sit, when you say sit, I get a treat. And I took that too far. It's like the people-pleasing aspect to a fault, where you start putting your own desires and needs on the back burner to please other people. And so these exercises are really difficult because I have to check myself and be like, do you really mean this when you write this? And so it was an interesting exercise to just write this list and write things that, like, I don't want people to, well, I don't care. Like, I wrote having sex, which saying out loud feels wrong. I just felt shallow, or I don't know what feeling it was. But then I was like, yeah, I enjoy sex. I enjoy intimacy with my partner. I should not feel bad about it. And then writing the date next to each activity, the last time you did that thing, made me feel good about myself, because most of these things, like probably 15 out of the 20 I have done in the past month or two. So I was like, okay, you're actually doing things for your own joy and cultivating that feeling. I'm just gonna read the 5 that were not this year, that were in the past. The first one was breathwork, like in person. I do breathwork every single day on my phone with the Open app, but I haven't gone to a breathwork session since June 21st, 2024. And it's also interesting to look at that and be like, okay, what's the blocker? Like, why have I not done this thing? Breathwork, the studio's in Venice. It's like 45 to an hour away. Now that I have Crash, I don't want to leave him for that long. That's an excuse. It's on Sunday. My favorite instructor, her name is Olivia. I love all the instructors at Open. No one has hit the way Olivia does. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my connection with her personally. Maybe it's her voice, the way she practices, I don't know. But her session is on Sunday evening or afternoon, and I'm always doing things like being social, and which is fine too, because that's also on my list, like being with friends. But I think there should be a balance. So I need to stop treating the drive as an excuse, because I would drive 45 minutes. The second one was pottery. I only did it once. I think I talked about it last week. I just need to book a pottery class. Pottery was January 14th, 2024. A difficult day. It was the day after my birthday, and it's the day I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, because I found out some nasty things. But we went to a pottery class right before, and that was amazing. I loved it so much. I think I just haven't gone back because it has some trauma attached to it, and it's expensive, but I'll go back. Then I have surfing, August 5th, 2023. I have a surfboard right here. I bought it. I live in Los Angeles. Go surfing. The excuses are, it's cold. Well, the first excuse is where I broke my foot, which is the reason I stopped, which makes sense, but it's been a year and a half. Your foot is fine. Excuses are the drive, the weather, like it's too cold. I have a wetsuit. Skiing, November 4th, 2024. That's just money. Like, I would go on my own and drive up to Big Bear and ski, but it's just so expensive. And I love it, but I don't know if I'd love it to drop $500 on a day. What else was interesting this week? Oh, the life pie. Can I show this? I can show this. It's basically you draw a life pie with 6 different dimensions. There's spirituality, exercise, play, work, friends, and romance. And then you place a dot depending on how fulfilled you feel in that area. The center is not fulfilled at all. The end is very fulfilled. I thought it looked like a spaceship, so I drew a spaceship. I feel very fulfilled on the friends and exercise level. I feel moderately fulfilled on the romance, spirituality side. And like, I understand why. Like, romance, I think I'm a lover boy, right? And I love being in love, and I love being in a relationship, and I love being a partner. That's like, if you have different hats that you put on and different identities, Crash is peeing. Dad life. And I'm confused because I just took him out, but it's okay. I was saying different hats. We all have different roles and different identities that we take on. I am someone's son, I'm someone's brother, I'm someone's best friend, I'm someone's client, I'm someone's boss. And one of those identities is being a boyfriend or a partner. And I love that identity. I love doing boyfriend shit. I love treating someone with love and thoughtfulness and doing things for them. And I just love being in a relationship. And I think the part of me that's not fully fulfilled is because I am on this journey of trying so hard to not give myself away to someone just to fulfill that idea of being in a relationship, and actually examining, is this person for me? Do they make me feel fulfilled independently of my role and how I make them feel? Like, not being in a relationship just to be a boyfriend. I need to be in a relationship because I love that person. And I think in the past I have found ways to make it work because I wanted that title so bad. So I'm fine with this not being fully fulfilled at the moment. I feel the frustration and I feel the longing for a relationship and like someone to do all these things for and be that for. Baba. Thank you. And then the last 2 are work and play, and I'm right in the middle. I think doing it, I also had a little bit of like, don't be an ungrateful little bitch. I am so lucky to be in the position that I'm in and to be doing the work that I'm doing. I'm self-employed. I have my own business. I make my own hours. I have so much freedom, and that should make me feel so fulfilled. And I think there's a little bit of guilt putting myself not at fully fulfilled, but I also was like, you're doing this for you, and it's okay not to be fully content with your situation. And I think The reason both work and play are both at the same level is because being self-employed is hard. Any entrepreneur will tell you having the freedom to make your own schedule is such a privilege, but it's also such a burden. There's no work-life balance. The only moments I'm not working are the moments I'm doing something else. So on a regular day, I'll work until the end of the day, like until nighttime. You don't have a 9 to 5 to go to, but that also means you don't have a 5 to 9 where you're not working. And there's so much guilt with doing things that are not productive, and that might also be something that I need to work on, and I do know I need to work on that. But learning to disconnect and to be like, okay, that's enough for today, because your to-do list is never gonna end. Your to-do list is never going to end. There's always gonna be things that need to get done. And I think I struggle a lot with letting myself stop. I think I'm working so much because I have all these goals and I want to be creative and I want to achieve things and I want to be comfortable and not have the looming anxiety of the finances forever. So I'm putting in the work now. I just think I could be doing things differently. I don't know. I don't have the answer, to be honest. And I think that's what's been so frustrating this week, is because I'm figuring out all these issues and things that I need to work on, and I don't see the end of the tunnel. I don't see the light, and yeah, it's frustrating. Another fun exercise was 10 tiny changes. It's 10 changes you want to make for yourself. So it's not like I want to be rich. It's not desires. It's things that you want to do. You are the actor. You're the one holding the pen. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to write? Julia, the author, also tells you, like, nothing is too small, nothing is too big. These are not things that are on your to-do list for today or for the year. These are just changes you want to make. I wrote 10 and they're all over the place. Should I read them? I'll read them. I would like to go to Brazil. I would like to get new underwear. I need to get new underwear. They're just all over the place and messed up and like old, like years old. And they're all none of the same. I just want to get the same underwear. I would like to learn Portuguese. I started this week because of this. Eu sou homem. Eu sou homem. I sound like a caveman. We'll get there. I would like to go on a solo trip. I haven't gone on a solo trip in so long. I'm gonna do it. I would like to print photo albums. I love that my family has so many photo albums tucked away and we can go through pictures, and we don't. We have 200,000 pictures on our phones. There's no way we're gonna go through them and show them to our grandkids. So I think I really want to start doing photo albums and like select my favorite pictures and print them and make albums per year. I would like to hang up my shelf. I just got a new shelf. In the past, I would either hire a TaskRabbit to get it done, or I would ask a boy, and I don't want to do this. I want to try to put the shelf up myself, and it's silly, but it means something to me, and so I'm gonna try to put the shelf up myself. I'm terrified. I need a stud finder. I would like to go to Fashion Week. Why did I write that? I don't remember writing that. I don't know. I've always wanted to go to Fashion Week, to like be invited to Fashion Week and like sit at a show. Is it up to me? It is up to me. I could be creating more fashion content so that brands want to invite me. There's just so many things to do at all times, and I feel like the days are not long enough, and then I guilt myself for doing things that are not work related, like going out or seeing my friends, because I tell myself if I really wanted it that bad, I would be giving it 100% of my time. But then I tell myself I would be having a burnout and I wouldn't feel fulfilled if all I was doing was work. So I need the life part, and then I end up back to square one, which is I'm doing things right. Not giving my work 100% of my life is fine, and I should not feel guilt for it. I would like to take an acting class. Can I help you, sir? Bobo. I love you. I'm training myself to say I love you every time I feel frustrated with him, because he's just a baby and he just wants attention. You smell yummy. Okay, and the last thing was the artist date. The artist date was interesting. I said last week that I used to love paint by color. You get your fingers dirty, it takes too long. I just didn't feel like doing painting. But I got a coloring book with like a bunch of markers, and I did one. I spent probably 2 hours coloring one picture, the first one in the book. And it's not amazing. It looks pretty. You know what? Hell yeah. Well, it's not the best, but it's pretty. And like, I had fun doing it. I just also frustrated myself a lot and annoyed myself a lot, because you're doing these artist dates and you're doing these things by yourself, for yourself. Your thoughts are going crazy. Like, I'm coloring, but my head is going 200 miles an hour. I wasn't enjoying the process for probably the first 30 minutes because I was so focused on what I wanted it to look like in the end. I was so focused on the end result that I forgot to even have fun doing it for 30 minutes. Every time I picked a color and started doing it, I was like, that's wrong, you fucked up, you're not good. This is not going to be good. I just was so unkind to myself. I also noticed that I was rushing at the beginning a lot because I treated this as a task again. I'm like so obsessed with getting things done and to-do list and productivity that it ruins the thing in itself. Like I was so rushed to finish it because I wanted to move on to the next thing on my to-do list that it kind of ruined it at first. I was having those realizations as it was happening, which helped me also shift my perspective and my approach to it. And I ended up loving it. I had a great time. I also, again, was so in that mindset of performance and doing it for someone and what would someone think if they saw this. I'm showing this right now. I don't give a fuck what anyone says about this because I did not do it to hang it somewhere, and I had to remind myself that. I did not do this to post it on social media. I did not do this to put it on my wall. I'm gonna move on from this. It was for the process. As I was doing it, I started painting the sky blue because I wanted to do like a sunset transition from blue to orange, but I didn't have enough colors. It looked a mess. It started to look green. It was a mess. I didn't like it. And in my head, I was like, what if I just put a black cloud over it? Because I messed up. Black is the only way I can fix it. So I'll just cover it up. And so I started drawing this black cloud, which is like a storm. I think stormy sunsets are stunning. You know, when it's sunny during the day and then the storm is coming as the sun is setting and you see the dark black clouds. I just think it's beautiful. I started drawing it and then I was like, wait, this is a dark scene. This is a dark thought. Why is this beautiful scenery having a storm coming? What does that mean about me? What does it mean about the way I see the world? What does that mean about my life? Is there a storm coming? Am I a dark person? Am I sad inside? I spiraled over a coloring book. And then I was like, you know what? I just think it looks pretty and I fucked up and I think that's gonna make it better. And I don't care what anyone says about the storm coming because there's no storm. I just drew it and I like it. Am I gonna do it again? Probably, because I have so many pages and I hate wasting, and I will do it again. Was that my favorite activity? Not really. I felt unproductive and I'm working on it. But yeah, that's about it for week 2. I started this debrief being like, I didn't learn anything about myself. Boy, you learned a lot. Trust the process. It doesn't all have to be fireworks. I'm excited for week 3. No, I'm not. I'm lying. I'm not excited because I'm treating it as a task and a chore. Week 3 is recovering a sense of power. We'll see how it goes.